to you from one of the 5 refugee camps for Rohingyas here in the capital. With me is human rights lawyer Colin Gonsalves as we speak to the people over here, many of them, and they all have UN refugee cards. Many of them have been speaking to their families who've been fleeing Myanmar in the last few days after the crackdown, after the burning of homes. There are women, there are children over here, and they've all got stories to tell. This camp was started in 2012, and a lot of the people have been living here since then. Now, what is interesting is, of course, the government's point of view. Remember, the government is really worried about the inflow of refugees from Rohingya. Now, why is that? Let me just tell you, before we go to our guests, before we speak to the people over here, let me just tell you what's been happening in the government and why they have security concerns. Just last evening, the Prime Minister's office called a meeting of the top security brass, which included the National Security Advisor, the IB chief, the RNAW chief, and the Home Secretary. Now, what did they discuss over there? This meeting was called because the UN Human Rights Chief criticized India for saying that they are going to identify Rohingya Muslims, and then deport them back. That got the UN very upset because they condemned India's stance for sending them to a country where they will be tortured, where they are bound to be mistreated. Now, when the security top bosses met, they also talked about Kiren Rijiju's suggestion that they should be sent back, because they said it is completely impractical. For one reason, where do you send them back to? Because Myanmar doesn't accept these people who we are sitting here with. They are not welcome there. So what happens to these children, to these women, to these men who are basically nationless right now? Now, here are some of the other, what do the Indian security persons say? They feel that there is a difficult balancing the concerns that they have. Why are they concerned? They feel that there are radical elements within the community that have links with Hafiz Saeed. They are saying that the Arakan, which is the militant group which has been attacking the police post, that has been having camps with the JUD, Jamaat-ud-Dawa, and the Lashkar-e-Toiba, and they have pictures of Hafiz Saeed attending one such camp in Karachi in 2012. They also say that the Arakan chief, Abdus Qadus Burmi, is a Pakistan national. So their main concern in all of this is that if Rohingyas are allowed to come over here, they will be an emerging threat and they will be used by Pakistan to target India. What we are going to discuss over the next half hour with our guests Colin Gonsalves and Subir Bhomik, who is joining us from Kolkata, is this a valid concern? And how do you do it when across the world everyone is concerned about the Rohingya community, which is one of the most marginalized communities across the world? How is India going to balance it? So let's get started about that. Let's talk about that. When India talks about, Colin Gonsalves, I want to start with you. When India talks about deporting them, the security guests that are already concerns that the security chiefs have already said it's impractical. But is there another reason that you feel that this suggestion is completely wrong?
Yes, for the simple reason that when you talk about the deportation of refugees, and if the Indian government is worried about terrorists, what you would do is, if you were a rational government, is you would go to the camps and you would say, all right, let's identify the terrorist. Correct? And it's perfectly plausible, it's perfectly reasonable to say this man is a terrorist, this is his background, and to isolate him and arrest him and put him in jail. That's permissible. But to say that 40,000 Rohingyas should be sent back en masse without a determination of their actual orientation and so on is wrong. Now, when I came here, I talked to him, yes, and I talked to other people around, and he tells me that the police have come here many, many times. They've interrogated all of them, they've looked at their documents, they've looked at their UNHCR card, and the UNHCR itself does a very thorough investigation into the background of a person. I did the same exercise in Jammu, where 6,000 Rohingyas are in 8 settlements. I went there, I met them. The police have gone there 10, 20 times. The police go at night. So they are thoroughly screened. Have they found a single terrorist in Jammu? No. Has a single person been arrested as a terrorist? No. Have they found a single person anywhere in Delhi who's a terrorist and they've arrested them? No. So where are these hypothetical or mysterious terrorists? There is no problem in catching a terrorist and arresting. No problem at all. But you can't take ordinary men, women and children who've suffered in coming to India and say, all right, all of you en masse will send you back. So the UN chief was right when he said it's a total violation of international law.
Okay, Subir Bhaumik is an expert in that area, but before we go to him, I just want to hear a little bit from the people. As you were saying, we've been talking to the community members over here who are here as refugees. आप यहाँ पे कितने दिन पहले आए?
यहाँ तो हम 5 साल हो गए।
और आपके अभी आपने कहा कि अभी कुछ दिनों पहले 1-2 दिन पहले आपके रिश्तेदार जो हैं वो अभी बर्मा से निकले हैं। उनके साथ क्या हुआ आप बताएंगे?
उनको घर जला दिया, तो घर जैसे जला दिया ना, तो उनको जान बचा कर बांग्लादेश बॉर्डर आ गया। तो हम जहाँ रह रहे वहाँ नदी कम है, इसलिए जान बचा कर आ गया। अगर जो नदी के पार होना है वहाँ पे ज्यादा जल गया, ज्यादा मारे दे रहे, जो जान बचा कर बांग्लादेश आ रहे तो वहाँ पीछे मिलिट्री आकर वहाँ गोली चला रहे। वहाँ जो रास्ता है ना, रास्ता में बम लगाया, जो मुसलमान जो आ रहे ना उनको खत्म करने के लिए। अभी तो नदी में तो 500-600 डूब गया, बहुत लोग डूब गया। ज्यादा जुल्म कर रहे हैं, ज्यादा जुल्म, ऐसे जुल्म ना पूरा दुनिया में कोई देश नहीं।
तो
माँ बहन जला रहे।
आप जब सुनते हैं कि भारत में आप यहाँ पे 3 साल से हैं कि हमारे मंत्री और वो कह रहे हैं कि आप लोगों को वापस भेज देंगे, तो आप उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
इनको क्या कहना, इनको शुक्रिया जानाऊंगा, इनको शुक्रिया जो हम जितना दिन रहिया इंडिया में, इनके देश में। हमारा देश तो नहीं जा, हमारा देश तो जला रहे, हमारा कोई देश नहीं, रोहिंग्या मुसलमान का कोई देश नहीं। तो इंडिया गवर्नमेंट अगर हमको चाहते तो हमको जेल में भी डाल सकता है। अगर हम बेकानून यहाँ से आ गया बता रहे तो हमको डाल दो, जेल में डाल दो, हमको यहाँ मार दो, बर्मा में क्यों वापस भेजेगा?
Actually, it's interesting that he's talking about sending him to jail because the Manipur chief minister has just told my colleague that they are going to take all the Rohingyas who are in the jail and start by deporting them first. But Subir Bhaumik, we just heard his story and what he has to say. How would you explain then when a humanitarian crisis like this is unfolding? I met somebody else, a young man over here who himself has gone through this and he's just come right now. He can't speak Hindi or anything else, so he can't communicate here on TV. But do you think when we hear these stories that the government's rationale of fear makes any sense?
Is that for me?
Yes, for you.
Okay, let me tell you this. This chap was speaking to you, he speaks far better Hindi than any Bangladeshi or any Burmese. So, you know, I've been in that area and I know this for a fact. Secondly, let me tell you something. There is a huge humanitarian dimension to this crisis. But what sparked it off? Let's get our facts right. On 24th of August, Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations, submitted his report, you know, to the Burmese government. Aung San Suu Kyi and the President U Tin Chow received the report, and then Kofi Annan, and I was there in his press conference when he held it in Sule Shangri-La Hotel in Yangon. The report is totally sort of in favor of the Rohingyas in the sense it tells the Burmese government you have to solve their problem of freedom of expression has to be guaranteed, freedom of movement, freedom of practicing their religion. There has to be inter-community dialogue between the Rakhines and the Rohingyas. There has to be verification and clearance of the citizenship. Aung San Suu Kyi received this report. Now please, Sunetra, get this right. Last year when this trouble happened in October, when the rebels of the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army attacked 10 police stations and killed a number of policemen, and that sparked of riots and violence, Aung San Suu Kyi, against the wishes of her army, and please remember, her army controls 3 important ministries, border affairs, home and defense. She went against them and set up this commission. Then again on 24th, when this report was presented by Kofi Annan in Yangon, she accepted the report and she made an announcement that she is going to set up an interministerial committee. For those who are now saying Aung San Suu Kyi's Nobel Prize should be taken back, this is for them. That the lady goes against her army and tries to start a dialogue process and a reconciliation process, and accepts the Kofi Annan report and promises to start set up an interministerial committee to implement this report. Within 6 hours, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, 1,000 guerrillas or guerrillas and armed villagers like the Maoists do, they attacked 30 police stations and 1 army base, killing 12 police officers, 2 soldiers, couple of them, 1 immigration officer. Now, if anybody has provoked this crisis at this point of time, it is the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. We have detail. I've done this story in Mizima. We have details of transcript of one Brigadier Ashfaq, who heads the ISI's Eastern Division. That may not be his real name. All these intel guys operate, no please, all these intel guys, they operate under, various pseudonyms. He calls up Hafiz Tohar, who is the military wing chief, and says, Kala Admi jane ke saath saath hamla shuru hona chahiye. Tohar says in chaste Urdu, because he's trained in Pakistan, and if you read that Mizima story, you'll see pictures of Hafiz Said and Abdul Quddus Burmi, who is the chief of the Harkatul Jihad al-Islami Arakan, who was killed in Jammu last year in an encounter. I can give you the date. This chap who had recruited Tohar. So Tohar says in Urdu, Sir, itna jaldi nahi hoga. Humne runner bheja hai. Because they don't want to go on mobile, they don't want to go on wireless for fear of interception, to keep the whole plan a secret. So he has sent physical runners to 30 different squads who are going to attack 30 different stations. And this kind of a thing, in the middle of a Burmese military operation in the Meu Mountains of Rakhine, where a full division of the Burmese army, 33rd Light Infantry Division, are operating, they pulled this off, 30 attacks, and completely in one stroke they destroyed Aung San Suu Kyi's efforts to get the peace process back, to get the process of reconciliation back, because then the narrative shifts from, this humanitarian issue to the security issue. The Burmese army comes in and says, lady, no further, we are going to tolerate all this, we are moving in big time. So it is the Pakistan, ISI and the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army who torpedoed this peace process, which people don't realize. They torpedoed the peace process in a deliberate way. They know that the Burmese army, which is known for its heavy-handedness, not only with ethnic minorities like the Rohingyas, but with their own people. Don't forget, they killed 10,000 Burmese students and youth in 1989-90. So, Pakistanis knew very well that
the Pakistan, right. But okay, my question only is, yes, the Pakistan connection is what the Indian government is saying, what the security setup is saying. But what about, how do you balance that? You've heard Subir Bhaumik talk about it, but is that something, how does then one balance it? Because what Subir Bhaumik is talking about are the credible kind of links, the Pulwama attack that happened, and the Rohingya connection was established there by security apparatus.
Look, it's always possible within a refugee community that there are some people who may be troublemakers. Let's go to the extent of saying there may be a terrorist or two among them.
Right.
But the law doesn't allow you to send people back. And there's a very high principle of international law and Indian law that you can't send a person back to a country where he'll be tortured or killed.
Right.
Now, the UNHCR has interviewed all these refugees.
Right.
The UNHCR has given all of them a refugee card. And the refugee card says this person, if he is sent back to his country, will suffer persecution and death.
Right.
That's the importance of that inquiry. So now you have two inquiries. You have an inquiry by the UNHCR. They have certified all of them to be genuine refugees.
Okay.
They will not give a card to a person who's a terrorist.
Okay.
And 1 second.
Right.
All this data has been shared with the Home Ministry over the last 5, 6, 7 years, which means everything the UNHCR has done has been given to the Home Ministry. Now tell us, where is the terrorist?